Number 1, what is the equation of the line from the following graph? So whenever we want to write an equation, we need to find m and b. Okay, m is our slope and b is our y-intercept. So we're going to identify the y-intercept first. That's where it crosses the y-axis. So that's at -2. And the slope is how it moves. So from that point, we need to find another good point. And it looks like that might be it right there. This is a negative slope line, so our slope is going to be negative. And then we just count. So to go from this point to that point, it's negative, so we go down 2 units. So our numerator is 2. And we move 3 units to the right. So our slope is -2/3. We write out our own equation, so y equals -2/3 x minus 2. And then we compare our our equation to the equations in the answer choices. So we're looking for -2/3 for our slope. That's out. That one's out. So it'd either be C or D. And then our y-intercept is -2. So we're good here on C. We're out on D. C is our answer choice. Number 2. What is the equation of the line from the following graph? Same thing, we need to identify the m and the b. So the y-intercept, where it crosses the y-axis, is going to be around 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So right here is 5. We need to find another point on the graph. And this one looks good. Whoops. This one looks good right here. Okay, so we have a positive sloped line, so we go up 5 units, so up 5 over 2. We write our own equation, y equals 5/2 x plus 5. So we look for the slope first, 5/2 x. We're good in A. B is out, C is out, D still looks good. And then our y-intercept is 5. So A is out because it has -2, and D looks good. So D would be our answer choice. Okay, number 3. What is the equation of the line M from the following graph? Well, this is line M right here. Okay. This is one of those special cases. It's going straight up or down. It's a vertical line. And it only crosses the x-axis. So here's our x-axis right here. It's only crossing the x-axis. And it crosses it at the point right here. So it's -1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it crosses our x-axis at -5. So the equation is going to be x equals -5. This has a y and an x. That's y. And then you just have to know how to move from the origin. This is backwards 5, so we have -5 here on C. And +5 would have been over here somewhere, so that would not have been good. Okay, number 4. Find the equation of a line where the x-intercept is 9 and the y-intercept is -6. Okay, you could do this 2 ways. You could plot these 2 points on a graph, the x-intercept and the y-intercept, or you can use the points to find the m and the b. I'm going to go ahead and use the points to find the m and the b. Okay, so the b is the y-intercept, so I'm going to go ahead and write that down as -6 because we're getting that information from here. Now we just need to find the slope. Okay, so our slope we're going to get from 2 points. So the x-intercept is located at 9, 0, and the y-intercept is 0, -6. Okay, we could input these 2 points into our calculator using stat edit, type the 2 ordered pairs in, stat calc option 4, and it will give us the m and the b. Or we can use the equation or the formula for slope, which it's m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay, so we're going to take our x and y values and we're going to plug them into this formula. So y2 is negative 6 minus, we don't want to forget these minuses here, so it's negative 6 minus 0 divided by the x2 is 0 minus the x1, which is 9. Okay, so negative 6 minus 0 is negative 6. 0 minus 9 is negative 9. Then I need to simplify that fraction. So a negative divided by a negative is a positive. 6/9 can be simplified to 2/3. So our slope is 2/3. And we write our equation, y equals 2/3 x minus 6. And then we compare. So that's negative. We had a positive. Positive 2/3 x. Wrong slope. Wrong slope. And then we had minus 6. And we have minus 6 here. So B is our answer choice. Okay, number 5. Find the equation of the line where slope equals negative 1 and y varies directly with x. Okay, so in every equation we need an m and a b. So right here it tells us the slope is negative 1. That's m. So m is negative 1. And it says y varies directly with x. When we see y varies directly with x, that's a direct variation. And anytime we have a direct variation, that means that the line goes through the origin. So the point that we're going to use is 0, 0 for that. And if it goes through the point 0, 0, our y-intercept is going to be 0. So when I write this equation, we're going to use negative 1 for the slope and 0 for the y-intercept. We get y equals negative 1x plus nothing plus 0. I don't need to put the 1 in front of the x because when I write the letter x itself, that means that I have one of them and it has to be negative. So negative 1x. And then plus 0 would go here. But we also don't have to write that because anything plus 0 is just itself. So now we compare our equation to the answer choices. So y equals negative x, have it here, but it's showing an intercept, so that one's out. An intercept of negative 1. B has a positive x. C doesn't have x at all. D has negative x and then plus 0 for its intercept because it doesn't add anything to it. So D would be our answer choice here. Number 6, find the equation of the line where slope equals negative 2 and passes through the point negative 5, 1. Okay, we need to identify the m and the b. Okay, in this problem, m is negative 2, so that part's done. And now we need to find the b. They're only giving us a point on the graph, so we need to find the b by using that point, the x and y values, and the m, the slope. And then we use the equation y equals mx plus b. And we substitute in 3 values that we know. Okay, we know a y from here. We know the m because they gave it to us. And they gave us the x in the ordered pair. The only thing we don't know is this b, so we have to solve for it. So let's substitute the values in. Y is 1, that equals m times x. So we take the negative 2 times negative 5. Negative 2 times negative 5 plus b. Okay, negative 2 times negative 5 is positive 10. So we have 1 equals 10 plus b. We need to get b by itself, or we need to isolate the variable, get it by itself. So we're going to move the 10 to the other side by adding the opposite. We get negative 9 equals b. Okay, and then we're going to write our equation from the m and b. So y equals negative 2x minus 9. And then we just look to see which answer choice matches. And we have 2x minus 11, so that's not any good. And we have negative 2x minus 11, that's no good. Negative 2x minus 9, looks pretty good so far. And then negative 2x plus 11, that one's out. So C would be our answer choice. Number 7, find the equation of the line where m equals 3 and goes through the point negative 4, 2. Same process, we need to identify the m and the b. Okay, they're giving us m equals 3, so there's part. And then we have x and y values here. We need to find the b by substituting in the m and the x and the y into the equation y equals mx plus b. So let's do that here. Okay, y was 2, and then it's m times x, so 3 times negative 4 plus b. 3 times negative 4 is negative 12. And then we are going to isolate the variable b, so we want to add 12 to both sides to remove it from the right side. And we're left with b equals 14. We write our own equation, y equals 3x plus 14, and then we compare. So 3x minus 8, no good. 3x minus 10, not the same, so it's out. 3x plus 14 matches, and then 3x plus 2 doesn't match there, so that one's out. So good answer choice was C. Okay, number 8. Find an equation in slope-intercept form that passes through the point negative 6, 3 and has a slope of 1/2. Same process, we need to identify m and the b. They give us the slope of 1/2, so that's our m. So half the work's done. Now we need to find our b. So we use the point that they gave us, x and y, and the m, and we substitute those values into y equals mx plus b when we're solving for b. So we fill in y, m, and x. Y is 3. That equals m times x. So we have 1/2 times negative 6 plus b. 1/2 of negative 6 is negative 3. And then we're going to isolate the variable. So add 3 to both sides. And we get b equals 6. We write our own equation given the m and b now. Y equals 1/2 x plus 6. And then we just compare our answer choices. Slope's wrong here, and the intercept is wrong, so that one's out. Slope's right, 1/2 x, but the y-intercept is wrong, so that one's out. 1/2 x minus 6 and 1/2 x plus 6. Ours is plus 6, so D would be the right answer choice. C would be out. Okay, number 9, find the equation of the line where the rate of change is -3/4 and passes through the point 8, -6. This rate of change is the same thing as slope. So that's slope, which is the same thing as the letter M. So we need to identify the M and the B to write our equation. So they're giving us M, but they're just calling it the rate of change, which is the same thing. So it's -3/4. And they're giving us a point again, so an x and y value. And we need to use the equation y equals mx plus b and substitute in the three values that we know. So the y, the m, and the x. We have to find b. So y in this problem is -6. That equals m times x. So -3/4 times 8. That would equal b. Okay, when we use our calculator, -3/4 of 8 is going to be -6. Plus b. Add 6 to both sides. And we get b equals 0, or 0 equals b. Okay, so we're going to put our 0 here. And we'll write our equation. Y equals -3/4 x plus 0. So we're going to add nothing to the end of this. This one has an intercept of -6. That's out. We're looking for nothing. -12, -2. And this is the only one that works, is A. Okay, number 10. Given the following equation, write a new equation that is parallel and passes through the given point. Okay, key word here that helps us know what to do is parallel. Parallel means same slope, so I'm going to write that down, same slope. Okay, so if we have parallel lines, we have two lines, so we need two equations. So this was line 1 here, and we need to write an equation that's parallel to that. So we need to identify the m and the b for the second line. And we said if it's parallel, it has the same slope. So the slope in this problem, if we're looking at y equals mx plus b, we're looking for the m, or the slope. And the number 4 is in that position, so 4 would be our slope. Okay. And then we need to identify the b, or to calculate the b, actually, using the point and that slope. So we're going to use the y equals mx plus b and fill in what we can and then solve for b. So y is 8, and that equals m times x, or 4 times 2, plus b. Okay, 4 times 2 is 8, plus b. We're going to add a -8 to both sides to isolate that variable b. And 8 minus 8, or 8 plus a -8, is 0. And that equals b. So we will write our equation. Y equals 4x plus nothing, so plus 0. This one has plus 16, plus 16. So B and D are the only ones that don't have a y-intercept. And our slope is 4. So the m was 4. And if I wanted to make that a fraction, I would put it over 1. So that one's no good. Plus it was also a negative slope. So B would be our answer choice. Okay. Okay, number 11. Given the following equation, write a new equation that is parallel and passes through the given point. The equation is 6x plus 3y equals 9. That is in standard form, and we need to write it into slope-intercept form to find the m, so that we can write the second equation. So we will take the equation 6x plus 3y, we write it over here, equals 9, and we will put it into slope-intercept form. So we will move the x's to the other side by adding the opposite. And we will divide everything by 3. And we're left with y equals, and negative 6 divided by 3 is negative 2, so negative 2x. And then 9 divided by 3 is 3, so plus 3. So this is line 1, okay, of the parallel lines. So we need to write an equation for line 2. Okay, so we'll do our work for line 2 over here. And we know that it's parallel, so it has the same slope. So the m was negative 2. So we're going to write that down because it's the same. And then we're going to take the point negative 5, negative 8, and we will substitute these three values now. We have the slope and an x and a y. We're going to put those into y equals mx plus b. And solve for b. So y is negative 8. That equals m times x. So negative 2 times negative 5 plus b. Negative 2 times negative 5 is 10. And then we will move the 10 to the other side. We get negative 18 equals b. Okay, so our b is negative 18. We write our own equation. Y equals negative 2x minus 18. So that's for line 2. And we compare. Negative 2x minus 2, that's out. Negative 2x minus 18, that matches. 6x minus 2, that's out. And then 6x minus 18, that is also out. So in this problem, B would be our answer choice. Okay, number 12, given the following equation, write a new equation that is perpendicular and passes through the given point. Okay, perpendicular means that it's that the slope is going to be the opposite reciprocal. Okay, or easier said is we flip and change the slope. So what that means is we're going to take the slope here, 4/3. We're going to flip the fraction, or we're going to make it the reciprocal. So we flip it, and then we change it from a positive to a negative. So for our second line, we're looking for an m and a b. So we're going to take that 4/3 and we're going to flip it over, make it 3/4. And then we said we change it. That means we're changing the sign from a positive to a negative. So that means we have negative 3/4 instead of a positive 4/3. We flipped it and we changed it. Okay. So we take this slope now for the new line and this point. So that's just an x and a y. And we substitute those into y equals mx plus b. Okay, y is 10. And that equals the slope times x, or m times x. So our slope now for the new line is negative 3/4. So it's negative 3/4 times negative 4 plus b. And negative 3/4 times negative 4 is going to be positive 3. And then we move the 3. And 7 equals b. Write our own equation. So we get y equals negative 3/4 x plus 7. And we compare. We're looking for negative 3/4 x. So that was changed but not flipped. that would have been a parallel line, so that one's out. They flipped this one in C, but they didn't change it from a positive to a negative. And in D, they flipped it, changed it, so it looks right. And then the y-intercept is plus 7. So D would be our answer choice for that one. Okay, number 13. Find the equation of the line between these 2 points. So if I'm looking at this, when I look at these 2 points, the first thing that I notice is that the y values are the same in this problem. Okay. So if I was to just roughly graph these 2 points, -7, -6, so -7, -6 would be around here somewhere. So I'm going to just put a little dot here. Okay. And then -2, -6. So -2 and then -6 would be around here. So I'm going to plot that point. And if I draw a line between these 2 points, we notice that it's going to be a horizontal line. That's one of those special cases. It only crosses the y-axis, so we get y equals -6. And the way that I get that equation just from looking at these points is I notice that no matter what, we have points, the y values are -6, so all of the values for y are going to be -6. Okay, so when I write my equation, we just get y equals -6 here. We could have also found the slope, and we could have found the y-intercept, and we would have come out to this as well. Okay, 14. Find the equation of a line between -1210 and -12, -2. When I look at these points, I notice something about these as well. I see that the x values are both -12. So this is going to be another special case where the x value is always going to be -12. So when I write my equation, it's x equals -12. And C is y equals -12, so that one's out. D is x equals -12, so that's good. I could have found the slope by doing m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Found the slope, used the slope with one of the points, substituted the values in, found the b, and then we would have ended up back at x equals -12 anyway. So just being able to identify that the x values were the same helped us solve this problem, or to write an equation for this problem without having to do really any work. Could have also plotted these 2 points on a graph, and we would have found out that if we went to -1210, just rough, we're just estimating, so there's -1210 there, and then -12, -2 would have been, something like that. And then when we connect the dots, we see that we have a vertical line, which that tells us that it's going to be x equals, because it only crosses the x-axis here, and it crosses it at the point -12. Okay, 15. Find the equation of the line defined in the given table. If you're using a calculator, you can use stat edit and type in 2 of the points. So -310, 0.5. Or you could have used any of the other 2 points as well. Or you could have typed all 4 of them in if you would like. So if you go to stat edit, you type in at least 2 pairs. And then stat calc option 4, the linear regression. And it will give you the m and the b, so whichever one it is. And then you would be done. If you're going to do it by hand, we need to find the slope by finding, we're going to do m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So these are your x's, these are your y's. So y1, y2. So 5 minus 10 on the top. and then 0 minus negative 3 on the bottom. 5 minus 10, negative 5. 0 minus a negative 3 is positive 3. So our m would have been negative 5/3. Okay. And now we need to take that m and one of the points on the graph and find the b. Well, I could calculate the b by substituting one of the points plus the slope into y equals mx plus b, or I can use what I know from the table. So right here we see that that is the y-intercept. The x is 0, the y is 5. So our b is 5 in this problem. So I'll write my equation now. Y equals negative 5/3 x plus 5. And then we just compare. So I'm looking for negative 5/3 x plus 5. Looks good here. Wrong slope, it's flipped over. C looks good on the slope, but the y-intercept is wrong. That would have been, some people may have accidentally chosen this as their y-intercept. That would be the x-intercept, so we want to make sure we get the right one. And D has the wrong intercept, and the slope is not negative, so that's out. So A would be our answer choice here. Okay, number 16. What is the equation of the line given in this relationship? Okay, we need to identify an m and a b. Okay, right away, I see that the b is going to be here at 0, 5, so the b is 5 in this problem. Now I just need to calculate the slope by using the formula m equals, or the equation m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So we're just going to take 2 points. I will use, let's use the 0, 5 and 2, 2. Doesn't matter which 2 points you pick. Could have also used the calculator, use the stat function. So stat edit, stat calc 4. So stat edit, we type in the points. Then stat calculate, option 4, linear regression. It would give us the things that we're looking for. Or here, so we're going to take 5 minus 2 on the top. And then 0 minus 2 from the x values on the bottom here. So 0 minus 2. 5 minus 2 is 3. 0 minus 2 is negative 2. So our slope is negative 3/2. Okay. So we will write our equation, y equals negative 3/2 x plus 5. So that's a positive 3/2 x. That's positive plus the fractions upside down. For letter D, we have negative 2/3, so it's upside down, the fraction's upside down. And C is negative 3/2 x, and then plus 5. So C would be our answer choice there. The reason they're putting the negative 2/3 here, we put that on purpose to see if you did the y values over the x values. So if you did it backwards and you put the x's on top and the y's on the bottom, you would have got negative 2/3. So that's why we put that there, to make sure that you understand that the y's go on the top and the x's go on the bottom. Okay, 17. Which of the statements below are true about the scatter plot? Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to look at the graph. I see that the x-axis is volume of pesticide in cubic feet. It's going up by 5s as we count. And then our y-axis is the quantity of mosquitoes in thousands. So 94,000, 96,000, 98,000, and on. I notice that the points, as they plot them, they seem to be going in a downward direction as x increases. The value of y is decreasing. So as this x is increasing, so as we move to the right, it appears that we're moving down on our y-axis. Okay. Then I'm going to go to the statements. I'm going to look at each one, and I'm going to label them as true or false based off of what I see from the graph. So number 1, as the amount of pesticide increases, so as the pesticide increases, the quantity of mosquitoes increases. So as I move this way, it's saying as the volume increases, the mosquito population is increasing. And no, that's not true because we're moving in a downward direction. So if we're moving down on our y-axis, the numbers are decreasing, not increasing. So number 1, I would say would be false. Number 2, or Roman numeral 2, as the amount of pesticide increases, so pesticide is increasing. So as I move to the right on my graph, the quantity of mosquitoes decreases. That's true, because as I move to the right, the mosquito population is going down. So that's true. Roman numeral 3, the quantity of mosquitoes is the dependent variable. Well, what we learned a while back is y depends on x. So if y depends on x, we're saying that the y is depending on the x. So here, saying the quantity of mosquitoes is the dependent variable. That is true, because that's our label for our y value. So Roman numeral 3 is also true. And the volume of the pesticide is the independent variable. Well, that would also be true because this is our x-axis and x is our independent variable. So Roman numeral 4 is also true. The question says which of the statements below are true. So the true statements are 2, 3, and 4. Okay, that's 1 and 3, 2 and 4 only. 1, 2, and 3. So 1 wasn't any good, but 4 was, and it was missing 4. So C is out. 2, 3, and 4 only. So the answer would be D for this one. Okay, number 18. Estimating a line of best fit. What would be a reasonable amount of dollars earned for a person that works 12 hours? We can do this a couple different ways. We could write an equation after we find the line of best fit. So find a line of best fit that goes through these points. And I'm just estimating my line to go something like that. Okay. Now I could write an equation by finding some points. Or since 12 isn't so far away from here off the graph, we could just kind of estimate where that might be. So here's 9, 10, 11, 12 would be about here. So if I trace this back up to my line, and let's see, we're counting by 8s here on the y-axis. So it looks like it might be about a line above. So around, it's not quite at the 88 yet. It's not down to the 80 right here. So it's going to be somewhere between 80 and 88. So 56, definitely not. 56 would have been around here. So that's no good. 64 would have been right here. 72 would have been here. So the only logical one would have been 84.